Hey everyone, today we're going to be going over the end of the first round of the playoffs. The second round begins tonight with Florida, Tampa, and Colorado, St. Louis. But we're going to go over the first round, and then I'll discuss who I think is going to move on, and my predictions from there. So, we'll start in the East. In the Atlantic Division, the Florida Panthers against the Washington Capitals. 4-2 Florida. Washington had a 2-1 series lead, but Florida came back and won 3 straight and won the series. This is the first time that Florida since 1996 has moved on to the second round. They haven't won a single playoff round since 1996. So that's big. Going down, talking about not winning a playoff series since a long time ago, Toronto Maple Leafs continued their playoff series losing drought. And as a Habs fan, Montreal fan, I'm so happy because I do not like the Toronto Maple Leafs. But they against Tampa Bay Lightning, who are the 2-time Stanley Cup champions. I had Tampa winning the series in 4, my stupid prediction. Of course, it goes to Game 7, the complete opposite, but whatever. Toronto's still out. It went back and forth. Toronto won Game 1, Tampa won Game 2, and all the way up to Game 6, that pattern continued with Tampa winning Game 6, and then Tampa wins Game 7 2-1 to move on to face Florida. Now we have the Battle of Florida. In the Metropolitan Division, so that was the Atlantic Division, now it's the Metropolitan Division. Carolina versus Boston. Carolina in 7 games wins against Boston. Yeah, I had Carolina winning this in 7, so I was right. I knew Carolina was going to win the series, and it was going to go to 7. Nothing much to say. It was a pretty cool series, I guess. It was back and forth. If you were playing in your own arena, you won a game. You won every game that you were playing in your own arena. Because Carolina, the first 2 games were in Carolina, and they won both. And Boston won the 2 in Boston. Then Carolina won the 3rd one in Carolina. Then back to Boston for Game 6. Boston wins that, and then Carolina wins Game 7. So yeah, moving down to the final series in the East, the New York Rangers against the Pittsburgh Penguins. This one was a really interesting series, and it reminded me of last year with Montreal and Toronto. Famously, Toronto blows a 3-1 series lead. So, this was last year against Montreal. And then Montreal goes all the way to the finals, so we'll see. And then loses to Tampa Bay. But I love that. Still be Toronto. But Pittsburgh had a 3-1 series lead. And then New York just won 3 games in a row at the end. And, yeah. Now they're here. The Rangers did have home ice advantage, so the first 2 games were in New York, then it was 2 in Pittsburgh, and then so on, and then 1-1, and then, yeah, and then Game 7 was in New York, so, and New York had momentum. I thought this series was going to go to 6 with the New York Rangers winning, but it went to 7. Can't complain. I would have liked to see Crosby and Malkin go for another run. They might leave this year. They're probably, I say they stay for at least another year, but they might leave. I don't know. So yeah, the Rangers move on to face Carolina, and that's the East. Now moving on to the West, the first series to be over this year was Colorado-Nashville. And if you remember in my halfway through video on the first round, I had it was 3-0 Colorado, and then literally that same day that the video came out, Colorado wins. So they win 4-0. They dominated. There was it was close, really. In 2 games. The first game was like 7-2 or something. Then it was 2-1, and then it was like weird. I forget the other scores. I know the last one was 5-3, but you'd have to look up what game 3 was. But Colorado wins. Move on. Colorado, best team in the league this year, as points go. So yeah, President's Trophy winners. Move on to face St. Louis, who beat Minnesota in 6 games. I've always enjoyed Minnesota-St. Louis series. I don't know why. I just find it so interesting. I see the two teams as equals. It was a good series, but I feel bad for Minnesota a little bit. Because in the last game, like, St. Louis showed no mercy, went 5-1 in Game 6, shut down Minnesota, and then they get to face Colorado. And I'll move on to that series later. Calgary Dallas. Now, Calgary, being number 1 in the Pacific Division, and Dallas being the number 1 wild card, passing Nashville. If you remember, about a month ago, but like a few weeks ago, right before the playoffs started, if you checked out my Instagram story, you saw that I set it up as Calgary played Nashville, but that was like before the season was over, and I thought that, hey, who knows? So, but no, Dallas played Calgary. They still lost. But it went to 7 games. It was a tight series, and now Calgary has to move on. And Dallas is out. Edmonton. Now moving on to the last round 1 series on the list here. Edmonton, Los Angeles. This one went all the way to 7 games again. So that means there's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 series out of 8 in the first round that went to 7 games. 2 went to 6, and 1 was a sweep. 4-0. But this one was cool. I liked this one. It was back and forth. One of the games was like 6-1 or 6-2 and 6-0, and it was just back and forth. And it was an awesome series to witness. And I hope we get more, honestly. Edmonton was definitely the favorites, and although I did kind of want to see Los Angeles go for another run, because they won a lot, or they won a couple cups when I was little, and I've kind of always had a sweet spot for Los Angeles. It's not like a team I'd cheer for against, like, Montreal, obviously, but you know, if they were against a couple other teams, I'd cheer for them. So that's all of round 1 recapped. Now, round 2. These are my predictions. So Florida and Tampa Bay, Battle of Florida, as it's called. I say, I don't really know. I know this one is going to 7 for sure. I don't know who's going to win it. It's going to be close, and it really depends on who comes out swinging first. Sorry for the cut. I just got a phone call. Anyway, Florida, Tampa. Yeah, whichever one wins this, I have a point on that later. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of want Florida to do good, because obviously the last time they won a round was 1996, and they've kind of been what I call a meme team since. So, yeah. What a meme team is just a team that's like a meme. But I expect you guys got that. Pretty self-explanatory. Anyway, I'd say, to be honest, if it goes to 7, I personally think Florida's going to win it, because Tampa has played 10 playoff rounds in a row, along with like an 82 game schedule, regular season, and like something else regular season. I don't know how many games they played in the 2021 series or season, because obviously because of COVID, there was something that needs to be like postponed or something, and yeah, so yeah, they've been playing a lot of hockey, and I don't know, and with that Game 7 against Toronto, obviously that's gonna be a lot of hockey. I don't know if they're really gonna, like, if it goes to 7, it really depends on whether they really want the 3-peat. And I assume they do. So, I don't know. It just depends on who wants the series more, on who plays more. They both have motives. And personally, if it goes to 7, I say Florida wins. But if it's a 6-game series, it might be Tampa. They really do, like, it's going to be tied at the end of Game 4, I can already say that. I'm predicting by the time I do a halfway through round 2 video, it's going to be tied 2-2. So, yeah. Anyway, moving on. Carolina Rangers. The Rangers, I don't know. I think this one's going to go to 6 games, so it's going to be 4-2. I say Carolina wins it. The Rangers, I don't know if they're that good. They've in the last few years, they've gotten better, but they've been a meme team for a little while. So, I don't know. Like, the last time they made the finals, they lost to Los Angeles 4-1 or something in 2014. And they knocked off Montreal. So I've always kind of not liked them for that. But whatever. They knocked them off in the Eastern Conference Final, and I was really not about that. But whatever. Montreal made the finals this year, so whatever. If I have to wait another, like, conference final, and then 8 years later, Stanley Cup final. If I have to wait another 8 years, I'll do it. I'm going to see them win a cup in 8 years. Well, now it's going to be 7, I guess. But if I have to wait, like, 7 or 8 years before Montreal wins a cup, I'll do it. If they win the cup in 8 years, within 8 years would be better, but, like, if it has to be over 8, if it has to be 8 or over years, I'd choose 8. So, thank you. Anyway. Yeah, I say Carolina takes it in 6. And move on to face either Florida or Tampa. Okay, Colorado, St. Louis. Last year, Colorado swept St. Louis in the first round, and then lost in the second round in 7 games to Vegas, who didn't make the playoffs this year. And then they also lost to Montreal, who then made it to the finals. So, Colorado really, like, I don't remember the last time they made it past the second round, but the last time they won a cup was like 2001. And the last time St. Louis won a cup was 2019. Obviously, but this year, Colorado's just so good. They're such a good team this year, and they were a really good team last year. And I honestly, I gotta pick Colorado. Colorado in 6. Now the last one for the second round. My prediction. Calgary, Edmonton, Pacific 1, Pacific 2. These 2 teams are top of the Pacific Division, and they're both in Alberta. Canada. Battle of Alberta. This is going to be the most intense series. One of the most intense series of the entire playoffs. We got Battle of Florida and Battle of Alberta on 2 different days. It's going to be boom, 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 boom. And then at some point there's going to be 3 games. I don't know if it's going to be these 3, or these 3, or these 3, or these 3, or something like that. But it's going to be on like Saturday or Sunday or something. It's going to be weird. And the next one is just going to be like 1, so whatever. But, yeah. There's a battle of one of the states and battle of one of the provinces, so it's going to be big. But I think Edmonton can if Edmonton gets past Calgary, I don't know what they can do. They're dangerous. I say this one's also going to 7. I say Edmonton takes it in 7. Edmonton takes it in 7. That's my prediction. So 7 to Florida, 6 to Tampa. If whichever one it goes to, because I know it's not going to 5 or 4. It's going to at least 6. If Tampa wins, it's going to be in 6. If Florida wins, it's going to be in 7. Carolina wins, is going to be in 6. I'd just say Carolina wins in 6. Colorado wins in 6. St. Louis does want the revenge, but Colorado really like needs to make it past the second round. And Edmonton in 6. Okay, back to my point I had on this earlier. I said whichever one, and then I forgot to finish my point. I said I had a point on this, and I'm just going to talk about it later. Well, now I'm going to talk about it. So, if Tampa, okay, my point is, or my take on this series is, whichever one makes it past this round is going to the final. I don't think either of these teams can make it past either of these guys. The Atlantic Division was just too powerful this year. The entire East was just way too powerful. Like, pretty much halfway through the season, almost, you could tell who was gonna make it in and who wasn't in the East. It took until the last day of the season to figure out who's gonna make it in and who was not gonna make it in the West. Obviously, you had your Colorado and Calgary, who were the top of the divisions, but in Edmonton, I guess, and I kind of knew Minnesota and St. Louis were gonna be okay, but the wild card race to get to the playoffs, and even Vegas was in there, and it was such a fun ride at the end of the season. And yeah. So anyway, back to this. I really think if Tampa wins, they might be able to go to the cup. They're going to the cup final, and they could win it, depending on who comes out of here. If Florida wins, they're gonna make it past Carolina, and then they're going to go to the finals for the first time since 1996. Yes, the last time they won a series was the last time they made it to the cup final. It's weird. Like, and oh my god, it's been a long time, but eventually it's gotta happen. Eventually Florida, Tampa's got 3 cups. They won one in 2004, and then they won the last 2. I say it's about time Florida gets theirs. Half of Florida has been taking 3 cups in the last 21 years. It's about time the Florida team, not Tampa Bay, Florida. But obviously, if Tampa Bay makes it past them, and when they go to the finals, because I know they will, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Because these guys, unless they play like never before, I don't think either of these guys will make it past either of these guys. And Colorado, if they make it past St. Louis, and make it past whoever comes out of here. They really I mean, all of these teams have a shot, but I say Colorado, Florida, or Colorado, Tampa. And if it's Colorado, Tampa, or if it gets to Colorado, Tampa, the back-to-back Stanley Cup champs against Colorado, the best team in the league in the regular season, and so far in the playoffs, because they haven't lost a game in the playoffs. So, yeah, the best team in the league against Tampa Bay, the two-time Stanley Cup champs, and Colorado's won one since 2001. Tampa Bay's won 3 cups since then. So, holy moly, bud, calm down. But this is just my opinion. If we do see a Florida-Colorado series, I'd be fine with that. Even Calgary. Even if Calgary makes it to the finals, or Edmonton, good, cool. Canadian team. I'd rather Edmonton, because they've got McDavid, they've got Draisaitl. There's so many guys I'd love to see get a cup. And if they do, that'd be epic. It'd be their first one since 1990, I think. So it'd be epic. Hold on, I need a chip. Okay, sorry about that. Anyway, that's what my prediction was. If you disagree with it, obviously comment who you think you're gonna win, who you think is gonna make it past, and if you want, make it to the finals, and win the cup. Or if you do agree, obviously, you don't need to say anything, or you could say something. It's all up to you. Please subscribe if you like this video. And if you didn't, well, that's okay. And like the video, please, if you did. And, yeah. Bye.